Welcome back to another thrilling instalment of Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Chalky Outline. The story so far, world-renowned and perpetually concussed Sherlock Holmes is on the trail of a shadowy criminal mastermind who seems to be linked to the recent murder of a Belgian chocolate baron. With his ever-faithful Watson by his side, and with the help of his new friends, Captain Kingsley and Percy Boothroyd, Holmes has been contacted by gentleman burglar Arsène Lupin, who has important information.
Here we are, in front of the wheelbarrow. Off to do a bit of deduction, methinks.
It's not open for breakfast orders yet, Holmes.
No matter. I shall do some more detective work over by that waffle stand. Call me if anything happens, Watson.
Yeah, whatever.
Why are you ignoring Holmes, Watson?
I'm playing hard to get.
Why on earth would you do that? You're already kind of hard to want.
How dare you? Kingsley, do you ever get the feeling that no one ever sees you?
I'm ravishingly handsome, so that's an alien concept to me. Not that I ever brag.
Sir, you once called your face proof of divine intervention.
My God, who's letting off small explosions at this time of day?
On a Tuesday, too.
Ha ha! It is I, Arsène Lupin, the man, the myth,
The all-encompassing restraining order.
Aha! Persephone, tell me, why have you not responded to my messages?
How does one respond to Lord Byron is really attractive for a deceased person?
Oh, Boothroyd, did those nights on the Rio Grande mean nothing to you?
Boothroyd? You know this gentleman. I never knew you were on friendly terms with Arsène Lupin.
His real name is Fernando, and he is a scoundrel of the highest degree.
And I thought I had an odd relationship with the overdressed man in my life.
Someone call my name?
Aha! The great Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, my God, how do I even respond to that with any ounce of British politeness?
He's French. You owe him nothing.
I see you got my message. I have information to share on the recent murders.
Why would you help us, Lupin?
My accent is even more ridiculous than my outfit. Once this happens, as a Frenchman, you inevitably grow a bit of a conscience.
Fair enough.
There is a criminal mastermind hiring from across the global underworld. Is recruiting to set in motion something that will shake the Western world and bring a most terrible threat from across the Atlantic, from the United States of America.
My God! Cheese in a can!
Monsieur, how dare you call my integrity, however criminal, into question? My integrity as a Frenchman would never allow such an atrocity to occur to cheese!
Do you have any idea what this mastermind may be targeting?
I cannot be sure, but I believe it is something related to that most sacred of European practices.
An unhealthy obsession with various types of cake and chocolate.
Ah, Boothroyd, always you with the proverbial nail.
Really? Out of all the weird things Europeans like, this is the one that this mastermind is going with.
Have you met Paul Hollywood?
And Madame Le Berry.
Pillars of European identity.
Good grief, that's rather depressing.
I must leave you before I arouse any suspicion.
That is a rather loud, feathered outfit for this ungodly hour.
But I will leave you with the name of the mastermind behind this whole shadowy campaign. Mr. Munge.
Well, colour me surprised.
Really? He's the only suspect we've mentioned in over 20 pages of script.
My nemesis! He's here!
And now I must vanish like a phantom into the night.
You know we can see you move through that small cloud of smoke as you slowly walk away, right?
Ah, Persephone, what witty repartee we have!
Flipping heck, Fernando.
Oh, Watson! I specifically told you to avoid sprouts from this part of the world.
Holmes, I don't think sprouts come from just Brussels.
My God! It's Lupin!
Good Lord, he's been taken out by a brioche grenade.
How much whimsy can one play hold?
He's gone, I'm afraid.
Another casualty under mysterious circumstances.
No, sir. It's another casualty of Mr. Munge.
So, what's our plan now?
I have an idea.
A good one.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I'd say a few more of these delightful breakfasts would help with the thinking process.
Mr. Holmes, I think you've had quite enough.
You've already eaten half of the Belgian croissant harvest this morning.
And Mr. Munge is still on the loose.
Maybe we should follow the calling card left at the scene of the first murder, like any rational person would do.
Why must any of my thoughts be rational? Is it not enough to be sat here quietly in my Hawaiian shirt, unhinged?
I was going to ask why that was appropriate garb at this particular point of the script.
I fear we must follow Percy's idea. Who knows who is next on his monstrous murder list?
If you're getting between me and my continental breakfast, I have no other choice, Kingsley. I will not listen to a man who allies himself with a country who is no less than a copycat of France.
Take that back, Holmes.
No, I am a man of principle.
Think of the moule frites we were planning to have for lunch.
I am a man of principle who can change his principles with ease. I apologise, Kingsley, but it's an interesting philosophical question. How similar are you to your neighbours? Can you be influenced by them? Of course, there are similarities, the accent, the tendency to eat cats and dogs even though you're not under siege, the obsession with sweet food, wacky and politically incorrect kings, the tendency to write their road signs in kilometres instead of miles like any sane person, by which I mean any British person. But then, is it really similarity when they are so different? For one, the Belgians didn't hate us before you turned up, Watson. The French otherwise hated us ever since there was a linguistic disagreement over the nature and content of cowardice. France has Voltaire and Hugo, but Belgium has the cream of fictional detectives. All I know is that can we really blame the Belgians for being annoyed by being constantly compared to their French neighbours? They have an affable view on life, have waffles and have chocolate. What more can you want from life? I mean, they're not barbarians from Tunbridge Wells, Watson.
You really did walk into that lamppost very hard, didn't you? Where is Kingsley? He's gone from his seat.
I'm sure it's nothing to do with this chloroform, this handkerchief, and this note from Mr. Munge, with the address of his secret lair on it left by his chair.
Oh, we must go help Kingsley.
Of course, but we shall have to use our cunning. The exit seems to be blocked by those mires you sometimes find in European streets, which are normally populated by charity petitioners.
But Holmes...
For the last time, we're not going into the mire, Watson.
You're sinking into the petitioner-filled mire, Mr. Holmes.
Hello? Would you like to save the whales today?
No!
Where the ding-dang heck am I? A sinister-looking cellar with me tied to the chair. This is hardly what a British gent should be doing at this time on a Saturday night without arousing a certain degree of suspicion.
Now, the warranty on this chocolate fondue set must still be valid. Oh, blast. Was this large part of it supposed to come off?
Munge! You fiend! You villain!
You stupid chocolate fondue machine!
Really? Don't tell me that's the thing that drives your evilness.
No. Well, it It only makes up 99% of my spiral into madness and general cape-swelling evil.
I can't believe I have wasted my life and sufficient poster space on you. I mean, look at you. Your cape is pink.
It's my daughter's birthday today, Kingsley.
But what about your particular brand of darkness and evil?
The Covenant of Darkness is lesser than the Covenant of Fatherhood, Kingsley.
That's not the point. You think I could have invested my time more wisely in a real villain, like Rasputin?
What?
Well,
Enough! My plan to rule the world is so dark, so evil, so chocolatey fudge-coated.
Well, what is it?
My plan includes stealing every Belgian waffle in existence. Without them, the Belgian economy will start to crumble, and then I shall bring out my own range of waffles. Almost the same, but not quite, and laced with a chocolate-derived drug that initiates all-consuming addiction to my patented waffles. With my new brand of waffles, the supporters of the old waffle will be plunged into awkward dinner party wars with supporters of mine.
But the Quaker chocolate barons would never agree.
I shall not ask them, you simpleton. I shall ask the traitors of the chocolate world, the threats from across the Atlantic. Hershey's.
You fiend! All right, I take back what I said about you. You're allowed to stay on my bedroom wall.
Good. You do like me really, don't you, Kingsley?
What part of the currently disgusted look on my face gives you that idea?
Well, I must say you do look lovely in that wedding dress.
Yes, I was wondering when you were going to explain this very visual joke.
Ah, yes. Well, part of my devious plan involves using the poorly disguised Prince of Wales as a pawn in marriage to a Hershey chocolate baron. Cadbury's would never recover from such an unpatriotic act, and Rowntree's, well, they'll have to go into the fruit pastel business. I'm sure it's going to be a lovely wedding, but I'm afraid there won't be an open bar.
You monster!
Master, the kindergarten has breached our security control and broken into our analog intercom system. They wish to negotiate with you regarding your daughter's spelling test score.
Negotiate? There is no negotiation. There is only repentance or death.
Very well, Master. Also, your daughter requests a bedtime story.
Tell her I'll be there at once. I don't think our guests will be going anywhere soon, especially as there is the promise of cake.
Cake?
Cake is for the talkers, Kingsley.
Sir!
Kingsley!
My God, what has he done to you, sir? I hope we're not too late to save you.
All these candles. He must have been planning on torturing you by dripping hot wax on you all night.
Not really, no. I think he was trying to be romantic. But the candles are lit earlier for ambience were the kind you use to repel mosquitoes. At least he's onto the nice candles from IKEA now.
Sir, we must ready ourselves to fight against Mr. Munge. Watson, have a look in the deceptively small case I've brought with me.
Goodness me!
Yes, the latest technology that the newly formed Quartermaster Branch can offer.
Wouldn't Q Branch be a more snappy name?
Don't test me, Watson.
Sorry, Boothroyd.
First one, a Class 4 grenade with a 4-second fuse.
It's a Panachocola.
Yes, 4 bites to arm it and 3 bites to disarm it. And this is our latest flamethrower device, enough to eviscerate any henchmen in the way, or to set any pile of wet wood on fire upon the banks of the Rio Grande.
Why disguise it as a potato?
Because you do not get carrots that big. And last but not least, a tracking device in case Munge gets away, set to trace anyone in any corner of the world.
It's a pen decorated with an image of a waffle field in harvest.
Absolutely. Munge wouldn't dare to leave without a pen to write up his next cunning plan on cunning yellow paper. And, of course, my trusty sword, Nethersbane.
Do you honestly think Munge will fight with swords, Percy?
He's trying to plunge the world into a chocolate waffle-fueled Armageddon, Watson. Lord above knows what whimsy he'll partake in next. Sir, I think it best if you sat this one out.
You think I can't fight because I'm the poorly disguised Prince of Wales?
No, I don't think you can fight because you're wearing a wedding dress, sir. For what it's worth, I don't think Watson could fight in that dress either.
Maybe not, but I would make a gorgeous bride.
Well, well, well. What do we have here?
I suggest not picking a fight with me, because I will cry very loudly and it'll be embarrassing for both of us.
I see you've brought your favourite feminist lapdog, Kingsley.
I dare you to start talking gender politics at me, Munge.
I'm not that sadistic, Boothroyd. I see you seem to have lost Mr. Holmes on your way here. What a shame you won't see him again. I hear charity petitioners are particularly vicious this time of year. But first things first, how do you know where my secret lair was?
We followed the signs. You should really take them down. They're hardly helpful for secrecy.
Yes, but it's the only way Amazon will deliver anything to me. I'm not on their maps, apparently.
I know what you mean. However, I always feel better about it when the Amazon woman does turn up with her bow, arrows, and ridiculously modern feminism.
Good Lord!
Holmes!
Mr. Holmes!
You! How did you escape the petitioner, Maya?
It was easy enough. I just made up a fake name and address. No one is called Dominic Cummings in real life, are they, Watson?
So, Mr. Holmes, I believe you now wish to regale us as to how the trail led to me, what I am planning to do, and how you will stop me. Don't think I haven't been binging on daytime detective drama whilst I've waited for your feeble attempts to thwart me.
Normally, I would. But I've recently sustained a head injury and need a momentary lie down. Watson, you take over.
What?
You can tell everyone how I solved the mystery. Surely you've been paying attention.
Yes?
Regale us then, my good man.
Well, the first crime... Wait a moment.
Are those sock puppets?
I'm Mr. Mudge! I will kill you! I'm Mr. Holmes. I have awesome hair. There's a calling card by my body. I think it's a clue. Oh, look! A travelling moustache salesman. Oh, Mr. Holmes! I hate you! I'll take that! Take that! No, I'll get you, Mr. Munch. Come here!
That's not what I had in mind.
I do rather like the voices, though.
It was all rather obvious what you were up to. However, it was obvious even to me, the great Sherlock Holmes, who is suffering from perpetual concussion. The only question was why. And then I thought, why would Watson behave in this way? Sock puppets, after all, are the most unbecoming in any social situation. Even more so than Morris dancing and pretending to love your family members in public. Then it came to me for attention. Now, why would you want that, Mr. Munge?
We're not going to go into the backstory of the orphan boy who only wanted to be loved, are we?
Please, Percy, we are not in a Jane Austen novel.
Thank God for that. It would mean I'd be repressed and sarcastic. The weather would be terrible and no one would go to the loo.
Yes, I admit it. It was for attention. And also it was for the chocolate waffles and the international havoc I could wreak. But honestly, have you ever tried proper chocolate waffles?
We are Englishmen. Of course we would never have tried anything bordering on tasty.
Come, Mr. Holmes. Do you honestly think you'll ever take me alive? I'm too egotistical a villain to be killed off so easily. Too interesting. My name is too humorous for you to kill me anyhow. Also, would you honestly try to kill me with this innocent chocolate fondue in the crossfire?
Not an innocent chocolate fondue.
Mr. Munge, please think before you do anything rash.
Now!
Bonjour! Allons-y!
What the devil is the Belgian policeman from earlier doing here? I thought he wouldn't appear again.
That would be lazy plotting, Mr. Holmes.
He's throwing croissants at Mr. Munge and slightly incapacitating him.
No! My only weakness! Belgian butter croissants!
Holmes, I saved this lovely pan au chocolat for you.
Oh, thank you muchly.
Holmes.
Quickly, Watson, use your bowler's arm for some good outside the Ashes season. Watson, the potato. Use it on the filing cabinets full of Munge's dastardly chocolate experiments.
You really shouldn't keep everything of importance in one small space, Munge. It makes the endings of these kind of stories much too easy.
Marvin! Bring me Brenda.
Of course, Master.
Not the dreaded axe, Brenda.
Prepare to die, Boothroyd! You're surrounded!
I'm only surrounded by fear and dead men walking.
Blimey, Percy. You're much too cool for this.
Well, if this isn't what I thought Tuesday would bring, if I'm perfectly honest.
You raised an axe above your head and started running towards me. What on earth did you think would happen?
Brenda, you useless axe!
You never insult Brenda, Mr. Munge.
You may have won this battle, Mr. Holmes, but not the war. You haven't heard the last of the dreaded Mr. Munge!
Master, you've forgotten your waffle field pen.
Thank you, Marvin.
Croissants. Flaky, savoury. The very antithesis of...
The Belgian waffle.
Well, that seems to have tied things up very well. Crazed villain attempts to take over the world with the misuse of Belgian waffles, but it's really only attention-seeking through obvious and darkly humorous murders.
But how are we to stop Munge from starting over again in a villainous pastures new, and bringing about a new chocolate war to Europe?
Watson, your childhood asthma has returned.
Oh my goodness!
That's not...
My cousin Nick!
Oh, he seems affable enough. Is he a chartered accountant or
Or a primary school teacher?
Something with a slightly higher pay scale.
He's the Tsar of all the Russians.
Bertie, it's been too long.
It has, Nick. Now, what brings you to Belgium? In a public call box?
Oh, I'm only borrowing this for a little bit. Awfully nice person with an equally lovely bunch of companions who really know how important it was to get to Belgium fast.
People like that are too far and few between in this current age.
I'm here to pick up my latest order of Fabergé eggs.
Ah, the beautifully ornate eggs favoured by the Romanov family as gifts on Easter, and which serve as a tragic, glittering look into the last days of a doomed dynasty.
The what now, sorry?
But why are you here in Belgium for your Fabergé eggs if they are made in St. Petersburg, Your Excellency?
Aha! They're not those type of eggs. They're the best kind of eggs.
Watson, you really need to get a proper wallet.
Chocolate eggs!
Absolutely. After all, the other Fabergé eggs are rather difficult to eat, as Bertie will tell you.
I thought we agreed never to bring that up again.
Your Majesty, as the ruler of the largest country in the world, we require your help. A certain criminal mastermind has tried to start a European chocolate war in order to bring in the dreaded Hershey's scourge upon Europe and, potentially, the rest of the world.
What a scoundrel!
We ask you to help us to stop this fiend by bringing the chocolate barons from across the world together under one international committee to fight this terrible threat.
Are we really pinning all our hopes on one ludicrously powerful monarch to stop Mr. Munge?
Of course, Watson. After all, when you wish upon a Tsar...
How long have you been waiting to tell that joke, Kingsley?
About 6 months.
In the name of European self-interest, and for the sake of Bertie's awfully mashed-up teeth, I agree to this proposal. Let's make chocolate great again.
I'm sure that sentiment won't be overtaken in the worst possible ways in 100 years or so.
What are you alluding?
Marvellous. Now that just about sorts everything out. Mr. Munge has been defeated.
For now, Kingsley. But who knows when he shall return? And with what deviant scheme? What will we do then?
Hope that Heckington Living Radio will chronicle the next chapter?
Well, one can only hope, Watson. I mean, it's not a Kai Bailey script, but needs must at this present time.
I hear the radio station has a secret stash of chocolate hobnobs.
In that case, I'm sure another adventure will be on the horizon, though the concussion does not seem to have lifted.
How are your thoughts at the moment, Holmes?
A bit all over the place still. Well, after all, an octopus is just a wet spider at the end of the day.
Well, I've just gone through the 5 stages of grief all at once.
Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Chalky Outline was written by Laura Griffen and performed by Heckington Players Amateur Dramatic Society. It starred Dan Excel as Sherlock Holmes, Kai Bailey as Dr. John Watson, Matthew Brown as Captain William Lutteridge Kingsley, Rachel Rowett as Squadron Leader Persephone Percy Boothroyd, Callum Thomas as Mr. Munge, Colette Buchanan-Gray as Arsène Lupin, Sue Fletcher as the Petitioner, Laura Griffen as Belgian policeman, Tamara Mills as Marvin Minion, Amy Ash as Tsar Nicholas Nick Romanov, and me, Joanne Moores, as the narrator. This particular adventure was recorded by our honorary Belgian policeman, Callum Thursby. It was directed and edited by Laura Griffen. Sherlock Holmes will return in another radio adventure soon-ish. This was a Heckington Players and Yellow Satchel Media production for Heckington Living Radio.